That's the difference between...
What is your favourite flavour of kilo?
I'm going to say lime now that I know one.
Lime it is.
God! That's not the worst one. That's so 2000s. Hey!
You ready? Yeah. Did you want to hold the mic or?
Give the mic.
The thing is, I've got some brilliant ideas.
Give the mic to the professional.
But I've run out of ideas in a minute. So
Okay.
It's feeling warm.
Are we good? King Nun. Hi.
Hello.
Again.
Again. The second time, round 2.
You're back.
I am back. I'm so excited. We're at the Bodega this time. We last met at the rescue rooms when you were with Superfood and Pale Waves. How did that go?
Really good. That whole tour was it was really good as a first tour because it was really long and we were with 2 really good bands and it was just an amazing thing to do. I'm trying to remember what shows came after that because we did a lot of really good shows on that tour, including Nottingham. Actually, that was really fun. So yeah, I mean, it was all one big highlight. Actually,
Yeah, I remember feeling the same about it when it ended. When I did then, which is that everything was going really, really well, and we were all getting along really well.
Yeah.
So then we had a massive fight at the end.
I hope that that's not true.
It's actually 100% true. It was like a... No, that's not true. No one even's gonna know now.
There used to be 5 of us.
If you look carefully.
So yeah, well, I mean, I hope the fight wasn't true. I was going to say, like, how are things since then? Like, have you been in touch with Pale Waves and Superfood since? I know that they're like doing tours in like the next kind of month and stuff. So
You see them around. Time to time.
Pale Waves come down to London a fair bit, so we see them, and at times the studio that they might be using is the one next door to ours. So it's like, oh, hey, Pale Waves, which is lovely. And Superfood, yeah, we've seen them a couple of times. We love them and they love us. It's just nice that everyone supports everyone else and what they're doing, and we can all just talk about music, and no one's trying to, like, obviously everyone wants the best for everyone. And no one's overly competing. Everyone's. It's just really nice. Everyone's so supportive.
Yeah, they're like 2 of our favourite bands. So when they play in London, like we'll make an effort to go see them.
Sorry, I was daydreaming back then. I'm really sorry.
So we're here now. You're on a co-headline tour with Freak.
Yeah.
And you've put some new stuff out since the last time we spoke. You've had Sponge, haven't you?
Yeah.
Last time it was Hung Around. You just released Sponge. How's that been? How's the reception been to that?
That's like, I think that's becoming fastly becoming a favourite for one of our ones to play live. It's a bit strange because it's relative to our other songs. It's kind of down tempo. But it just kind of gets a stomp on when we play it. I don't know. It's just it always sounds quite natural, comes out well. So yeah, no, I think it's a favourite of ours.
Yeah, I think the reception of it was better than Hung Around. I think, and I think there was more like I definitely felt more of a warmness. I think I don't know. I don't have a preference. I like them all.
Well, it seems that every one of the singles are really different. Like they've really got just like a characteristic, I think.
Thank you for saying that. That is at least partially intentional.
That's the dream.
Yeah. We don't want to do the same thing 5 times.
Yeah.
We want to mix it up.
So is that something that you think is gonna keep happening, or do you think you'll find a kind of song that you're kind of into? So it's like, okay, so I like the kind of themes and sound of, I don't know, Hung Around, so we'll kind of keep it like that, or do you intend to keep it very different?
I think our foundations are always going to stay the same, which is that we're very much built on passionate communication as quickly as possible. But I think the confines of the genre that we do it in are going to expand and stretch a lot. I think we're gonna work with less effects, more energy and more passion, maybe vice versa. I think we want to experiment and move around within what we're comfortable with doing. So we want to push our limit around and see where we go with that. But I mean, our intention and our heart is always going to be the same, which is that we want a frantic and immediate communication. Yeah.
My favourites hung around. And that was then, and I think that's still now. Since then, I've fallen in love with Tulip as well. I love Tulip.
That's good.
Is there kind of different influences for each song? So it's easy to say, okay, what are the influences as a band? But as I was saying, they're also different. Are there kind of, you're listening to something at one point whilst recording a song and you think, okay, we definitely need to get a bit more of this. Like, I remember last time you said Hung Around was a bit kind of White Stripesy.
I think a lot of where the variation in songs comes from is our approach to writing, because I don't think it's ever happened that someone will bring in a song in full. You know, someone will come in with a small fragment, and then someone will put their lens on it, and so it goes through a big change in that. I mean, Hung Around's a good example, because that started very differently. You know, when we wrote it ages ago, and it kind of was dormant for a while, and then we brought it back and thought this could be just completely different. And I think that's just a result of all four of us having quite a different taste and different personality and such, and we all have equally strong views on how songs should be. So I think that's just a result of some push and pull in the writing process. I think we all have fairly standard main tastes in terms of what music we listen to, and then outside of that we'll get very excited by new things we hear. So yeah,
Our music tastes are very different. We all have similar sort of foundations, but we all listen to just completely different things.
Yeah.
So I don't think we particularly try to write to a genre or anything. It's more just sort of like what we might be influenced by, or how we're feeling, or where we're rehearsing. But it's not really planned. You know, we won't like listen to an album for 2 weeks in order to write a song.
Yeah, of course.
Like that. We sort of play with whatever's coming out.
Yeah, I think in what sort of despite the fact we have very different music tastes, our lives are so intertwined with each other. We're basically all going down the same track at the same time. So what comes into our songs, I don't think it's necessarily our separate influences, but more like at the area that we're in.
Yeah.
Like Tulip came from a time where we were very boxed in and amplifier on 10, and then drum kit falling apart in these tiny rehearsal rooms. Then Sponge, we had a bit more space because we had a budget, because we were because I think we were signed when we were at Sponge.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. So we had more space, and then we can go. We can be a bit cleaner, and the momentum can drive it. And I think where we are as people falls into our music way more than our individual inspirations. I think. Yeah. I think that was horribly off topic.
That's fine. It's good. We've got answers. You've done a few bits and bobs over the summer, so lots of festivals and stuff. Tom saw you at Leeds.
Sick, that was a good one. That was a good one.
What have you got any highlights of the summer? Anything that you really enjoyed this summer?
Leeds and Great Escape.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all good. They were all really good.
I've completely forgotten his name. Introduction at the Great Escape, BBC stage.
Oh, Steve Lamacq.
Yeah. Just before we came on, he didn't necessarily directly mention us, but Steve Lamacq did this beautiful little speech about sort of the way music is heading, and sort of the reason why he'd selected the bands that were there, and we were headlining that.
Yeah.
And that was such an unbelievable moment. Because it was he didn't talk about us directly, but the way he was talking about it in the way that music has to develop totally fell into our feelings about that. So it was probably one of the first times that we felt closer to like a long run that's like in sight, or that's like more clear than it has been before. And it's been like, yo, guess that's why we do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was really nice to have our our passion like defined by his speech. It was a wonderful speech. It was really good. Yeah.
Have you been left starstruck by anyone you've met as maybe before you're in a band, just like you bumped into someone on the street, or like or as a band, anyone?
Nathan saw Johnny Vegas in Nando's.
Oh,
and that made him almost wet himself.
That Johnny Vegas. I wasn't prepared for it. I was just sitting there, it wasn't typical like cheeky Nando's or anything. We just went to Nando's. I think we were actually having like a meeting. There were like contracts printed. We were sorting something. Was it then? It was something to do with lawyers or something. It was something to do with
Oh no, right.
I guess kind of boring. And I'm sitting there eating my burger, and I look up, and it is the guy from PG Tips. And I don't think it was the fact that he's like a celebrity. I think it's more the fact that I didn't expect to see the guy from the PG Tips whilst eating a burger. It was just like.
No, I remember you.
I think it was.
It was emotional. It was really emotional.
It just threw me. It just threw me. It wasn't like, oh my god, he's on TV. It was just more like, where's the monkey? If you see what I mean.
Yeah. It was actually he was with the monkey. Like they actually came as a pair.
Yeah.
No, that's not true.
That was why I remember you describing it as. You went Johnny Vegas, and I went who, and I went the monkey, the tea monkey, PG Tips.
I was waiting like.
Fucking tea.
I love those adverts. They're well thought out there.
Where have they gone?
No, they're still going. They made a new one.
Johnny Vegas has left, hasn't he?
He might come back. Who knows?
Making a comeback.
A comeback tour.
Watching this, please come back to PG Tips.
Johnny.
I didn't know anything about him apart from, I know he's been in loads of things now, but I didn't know that. All I knew him from was PG Tips. So it wasn't like, I can't even think off the top of my head what he has been in, but it wasn't like, oh, from this program or that program. He was just a PG Tips guy. And he was sitting next to me in Nando's.
Wow.
Wild.
He takes his kids to the same school that my uncle does. So we have an in. We could be the Johnny, please, you gotta come back to tea.
Yeah. You can let us headline PG Tips.
Actually, it's just occurred to me. We've also met some big cheese in. Is it Tetley's?
Oh yeah.
You have?
Yeah, no,
you know all the tea people.
Yeah.
We've met all the tea donnies. All of them.
Well, what's his name again? Is it Joe? Is his name Joe?
I think his name
is
is
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's a. I was pretty overwhelmed then. That was a big moment for me.
He is like.
Yeah.
Tea.
Lots of tea heroes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a couple of quickfire questions now.
You don't do those so well.
It's the second time I've done it. Okay, and they're off the top of my head, but I think I'm gonna smash it. This is as much of a challenge for you as it is for me.
We're with you, man. We're with us.
Good. Okay, Oasis or Blur?
Blur.
Get it. Okay, I had another one. Spandau Ballet or Duran Duran?
Duran.
Yeah.
Because I'm hungry like I am.
A bit of a deep one maybe, but Pale Waves or Superfoods?
No.
We can't do this interview anymore.
There genuinely isn't an answer.
No.
I prefer myself.
It's like trying to pick between. I was going to say mum and dad, but I can definitely pick between them.
Nathan fails all in telling interview.
Next question.
Okay, next one. Dizzy Rascal or Tiny Temper?
Dizzy Rascal.
Dizzy Rascal was sick live.
Why didn't we want to collaborate with?
Because I don't want
Yeah, no, but Dizzy Rascal's got
I'm just gonna-
pyrotechnics.
I'm sticking with Tiny Temper. I'm
Fine, we'll
afraid.
just go with
You're
Mr.
divided.
Is Dizzy Rascal good? You've seen Dizzy Rascal live?
Yeah, he's
Wow.
banging.
I'm seeing him next month.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He brings out all the fireworks. At one point, he was like, I'm gonna put it on my Insta, and he was like, sorry guys, got no storage on my phone. He's just jokes.
Wow.
He's
That
jokes.
sounds great.
I did it wasn't really my cup of tea then when I saw him, so I was from like 2015. So I was thinking, oh whatever, but good. It's good.
Okay. Making music or playing music live?
Making, I
Making
think.
music.
Okay.
I mean, they're both great. It's just you've got to make the music to play the music, unless you're doing covers.
Oh no, actually no. I've changed my answer. Playing music, actually.
You can't just change your answer.
it's
Do you know-
it.
do you know
No,
what
I
it's
have.
at? It's your fucking GCSE.
Quickfire and a
Can
fire
I elongate
twice.
the question?
If
the
you
quick
want
fire,
to.
slow fire
Long fire.
round.
We've hijacked the format.
They are so different and it's so interesting. One song could be like, oh my god, we're being robbed. He's supposed to be managing her. The fuck? It's when we write something, it only really becomes what it is when we play it. So it's like even when you play stuff, it's like still making music. Like you can play a song for weeks and then it turns into like what it eventually turns into. So it's like that's a really interesting thing. I was thinking about that recently. It's really interesting. And we have new stuff that we're playing now that is like forming itself because we're playing it live. But we've like basically finished the structure and everything. It's super cool.
So have you what's next then?
We are in the process of recording something. We can't give that many details about it, but we're looking to release something at some point next year.
Okay.
I mean,
It's Freak.
oh my god.
Just come through.
I didn't want to take the spotlight.
Cheers.
The Freak interview will be live soon.
Freak have never met the guy
stand for
from
this.
T. What was his name?
Johnny Vegas.
You'll never get that shit from Freak.
Don't give
Wow,
Freak
don't
free
assume
tea.
anything. Theo has done exactly 0 interviews with Freak, so I don't know how he
Freak,
knows
have you
this.
met Johnny Vegas?
Have you met Johnny Vegas? Yeah. Right, 1-0.
There we go.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, 1-0.
Yeah.
Watch yesterday's EastEnders.
Oh shit.
Okay, we'll bring this back. So next year you've got what, like a few like an EP or an album or something?
It is. I don't know if we can say what specifically, but it is something more long form, and we have been working really hard on it, and it is. We're trying to get it out soon.
Yeah. This is sort of my not generic answer, but I feel like it's the only way I can word my brain processes and thoughts about this. But we spend so many hours like writing music and trying to make everything the best that we can. And then when it comes to recording, we want to we don't want to rush it, because if we don't want to. We've spent so much time in it already. We want to make sure we get it perfect. So we're not trying to long everything out, but everything has to be like 110%. Otherwise, like it has to be from the heart, and it has to be the best that we can give. So we're just kind of throwing everything at it.
Genuinely, I can't wait.
Good.
Honestly,
I think it was the same. This thing was the same thing that we said we were working on last interview. Actually,
Okay.
It's been a long running, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like.
But-
I think it's going to be our best thing. I'm really excited for you and everyone. Really.
We've made a lot of progress. We've made a lot of progress, but there's still definitely more to do. But it's good.
King Nun, we're gonna do this again sometime.
Make a hat trick.
The pleasure is all mine.
Rock City, we're gonna do it. We'll make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. You too.